What events are great at, what they're great at is building relationships with high-value customers. Now, high-value customers aren't just the people who buy your product, nor are they the people who buy your product a lot. These are the people who hold the keys to group buying decisions. Now, let's go through this. In B2B, we call these people champions, right? Typically a champion influences an entire team of decision makers. This should look familiar, right? These are the people who decide which products to buy, and they purchase that product on behalf of an entire business of stakeholders. Now, in big businesses, when they're making big purchasing decisions, you can understand how valuable a relationship with that champion can be. And that's B2B, but B2C is not so dissimilar. In B2C, we might call these people ambassadors, right? An ambassador will find a product they love, they'll share it with a group of friends that really trust that ambassador, and then that group of friends will share it with that group of friends, their group of friends, and so on and so forth. And so you can understand how very valuable finding that ambassador and building a relationship with them can be. And of course, influencer marketing is built on the exact same thing, right? We find these influencers and they create content and they share it with their community and broadcast it to their audience. And if you find the right influencer and you build the right relationship, you can move large groups of people. Very valuable relationship. And of course, all of us know how valuable a relationship with a journalist can be. They tell your story through their publication to all of their readers. It does not matter what business we're in or what industry or what category or even what you call it. These people, these high-value customers represent more value than just themselves. In fact, at Splash, we call these people 10Xers because they often represent 10 times, if not more than 10 times, their own value. 10Xers. And if you're here, I'm going to assume that you understand how valuable it can be and how impactful it can be to engage with these 10Xers in real life, right? Nothing replaces when your store manager or your salesperson or even another customer engages with that 10Xer and they build a relationship or they form a memory or they build a bond. It just transcends that commercial relationship, and the value that we can pull from that is exponentially greater, right? But events are expensive, right? And that's typically the problem that we face, that it's really hard to do what we do best as marketers. It's hard to scale our events when they're so darn expensive. With solid unit economics, very, very difficult. But as I mentioned, the world has changed a lot in the last couple of years. And finally, we're seeing how the top marketers are using data and using automated systems to understand their events, to help find those 10Xers, to give them that experience and to scale their programs with strong unit economics. And so what I want to do is walk you through at a high level how we've seen some of the top marketers scale their programs. And to do so, let's start off with like a typical event program and how it usually gets going, right? Okay, so let's say that this event program really understands the value of the event, right? And so they identify a couple 10Xers and they invite them to an event. And the event is awesome. It's all hands on deck. It's a small business at this point, right? It's a small group of people, and everyone understands why they should be at the event, and these solid bonds are made, and everyone gets it. And lo and behold, these 10Xers come, they buy something, and the event delivers sales. ROI accomplished, high five to the event planners, cool. So then the next year, what are we gonna do? We're gonna try different types of events. So the business starts to layer in different types of events that target different personas, hit people at different stages in the funnel, look for different outcomes, and it's great. All the events are terrific. The DJs are tremendous, the food is delicious, the speakers say very tweetable things, and you're even tracking all of the RSVPs very well, right? But this is typically, around this stage is where we do see programs hit a wall. And it usually we start to hear it when the marketing team complains about not getting enough internal buy-in, and then the guest list thins out, and the marketer just tries to fill the space with as many people as they can, and before long, the event isn't driving any sales, there's not enough ROI, and the program gets cut, right? We've all seen this happen, and we've all been pretty afraid of this happening. And so what happened? Okay, so the good news is it likely, from what we can tell, it has nothing to do with your events. In fact, from what we can tell, your events are amazing, and I would like an invitation to all of your events. What it has to do with, what we often have to see in this scaling zone, is it has to do with a shift in mentality. You see, great event programs are not built on one person's efforts, and it's certainly not built by even one department. Great event programs must involve the entire organization. It must involve the entire team. That is truly the only way to scale. And so we've been watching this, and we've been watching how you guys have been scaling your programs, and it's always the case. You're empowering your team to get involved and get in the action. You're empowering them to be hosts like yourself. In fact, we like to call it super hosts. This is a term that we see that we took from Airbnb. Airbnb will often talk about how super hosts are those that create very personalized experiences for the people that come visit with them, all their guests. They feel very like this is the first time that anyone has ever come and visited. That's how that guest always feels. And they always prioritize that guest. They give them an incredibly important experience. And this is what we see programs that scale. This is the mind shift that they take on. They empower their team to be super hosts. And we are in a technology era where we can accomplish this level of hospitality with minimal effort, right? We can actually scale. We can practically, by using data, empower our teams to nearly have X-ray vision and identify 10Xers and give them a memorable and impactful experience. And it really does come down to data systems. But just like those super hosts of Airbnb, we have to think about how this data can help our team prioritize their time and personalize their experience. Prioritize and personalize. That ends up being the name of the game. And again, it comes down to data and building data systems. So after years of intense study of this, as we've been watching your programs, we've been keeping track of which data actually matters, and maybe as important, how to get it in the hands of the people who can actually use it in real time. There are several buckets that we see people think about their data in. And this is going to seem very familiar to you. The first one is contact data, right? And collecting this at every single touch point, right? Who is this person and how do I reach them through all of the various channels? The next is firmographic data. Where does this person work? How valuable could this person be to me? And maybe at what stage in their buying process are they? The third is digital footprint data. This is behavioral data about how they operated online, how they found the event, to how they interacted digitally before, during, or after the event. The fourth is interest data. What does this 10Xer, what does this person like? What do they respond to? What type of content do they click on? Or even how do they answer their RSVP questions or their survey questions? And last but not least, intent data. And intent data is fascinating. We've been watching this, especially as it applies to prioritization. We'll talk about it in a sec. But intent data is basically, do they intend to attend your event, and do they actually attend your event? How interested in your business or product are they? Now, we look to progressively profile these 10Xers at every single step, and we look for signals here. And I can see, as I'm saying this, a lot of you guys nodding your heads, and that is not a surprise, right? As event marketers, we know how important this information is. We use this information pretty much every event to fill the room. We use it to segment our VIP lists. We use it to check in guests. We use it to make sure that our CEO meets the right person, right? We use this all the time. But remember, the shift here, the mental shift that we need to go through in order to scale is to get it out of our hands and into the hands of other departments, right? Especially our sales team, so that they can use it and operate it. And again, this comes down to building systems. So then the next question that you got to ask is, how does your sales team especially like to receive this data? Is it via text message? Is it via Slack? Is it via email? Is it via an automated dashboard? Or is it just by telling them? How do they like to receive this data? And we have found, and we do this firsthand, we do this ourselves, we have found that if we get it in their hands, sales teams especially are highly incentivized to know how to use this data. They know how to act. They know how to find that 10Xer and deliver a memorable experience and engage with them in a personal way. They'll do the heavy lifting there. But remember, guys, an event is only 5 weeks of promotion, 3 hours of real life. So it's our job to focus on prioritization, on efficiency of time. That's the real cost of many of these events. And to do so, that's when we want to bring back intent data, right? Intent data, it's a really interesting magic ball, and we've been watching it, and I'd look for you to watch it in your programs. Things like who's clicking on multiple emails, who's opening the email fastest, right? Who's attending multiple events, who's your most loyal, who's bringing an RSVP, especially an RSVP that you can tell that they trust. Starting to track that, that's going to give you a signal that this person is interested in your business or product, and if you deliver that, especially into the hands of your sales team, not only are they going to use their time more effectively, but we've actually experienced a really awesome side effect of this. Your sales team starts to love you, right? We always talk about expanding our teams, right? And I always want to expand my team. Well, this is the way to do it. Show your sales team that you really care about their time by signaling to them that they should be watching for a signal, right? That they should be prioritizing this 10Xer. And if you do so, if you show them that you honor their time and respect their time, we have seen incredible results. They end up working weekends to help you set up the event. They compete to get to the top of the RSVP dashboard, right? Who can drive the most RSVPs? They try to attend the event. I've even had a sales executive offer up his budget to support my events because he understood how important this opportunity was. And that's the game here. Get them in the game. And guys, if you can't tell, I'm doing this stuff firsthand. I can speak from experience here. We've been building Splash for about 5 years, and we've been doubling, more than doubling every single year. It's been growing fast. And with a team of 75, I learned, and this was about a year ago, I figured out how you were distributing your information and turning your team into superhosts, so I started doing the same. And I started getting them involved early and often in the event planning process, and the results have been tremendous. We've seen 2 to 3 times ROI from where we were before. And more than that, the events just feel better and people get really excited about getting involved. And so that's what I want to leave you with. As you go throughout this day, as you hear the talks from some of these amazing marketers, think about how you can be collecting information, what information matters to your organization, how you can put it in the hands of the people who can use it in real time, how you can turn them into superhosts. And as you do it, try to keep the mentality of how you'll help them personalize those interactions and prioritize their experiences. Guys, have a great rest of the time at Mastermind. Thank you.